Yes, good evening. Welcome to Football Heritage TV. We're back with a Spurs review. We've had a long hiatus. I reckon it's been about 9 months with no Spurs review, but we're back. So me calling this episode 1 is slightly skewed, but I've got a panel. Look at the panel. I reckon if you add up all our ages, we might get back to the last time Spurs won a trophy. So I am joined tonight by Jose, El Cockerel. Jose, yes, get it. I got it right. Joined by Dan from the Spurs Danalist. I'm joined by Lubo as well, and Marlon will be joining us once he's put the kids to bed. Gentlemen, how are you? Good day to be a Spurs fan, right?
Absolutely. Excellent day.
No moaning tonight.
Another happy evening.
Another happy evening.
That's 2 in 5 days. Can you believe it, eh?
Oh.
We're not allowed to be critical tonight.
Listen, this is my channel. We're allowed to be critical whenever we want, mate. This isn't. I'm not paid by any sponsors, which mean I can't say what I want. I'm going to say whatever I want. But listen, on a serious note, it is a great day to be a Tottenham fan. We asked the question after the Man City game of, look, can we, good win? Can we follow that up with a home win versus Aston Villa? I think most people I saw were actually saying it should be a home win, and it was. Let me start with you, Lubo. Look, Tottenham, we've other than Arsenal, we've been very strong at home. We're starting to make it. I don't want to use the word fortress. I don't, but it is where we're scoring all of our goals. It is where we're picking up all of our points. This was a really, really important game today, wasn't it? In terms of keeping up with the top four and not becoming 8 or 9 points adrift. So what were your feelings going into the game?
One of foreboding, to be honest. We've been up and down, from the highs of hammering them at Old Trafford, the first half at Brighton, to the second half at Brighton and the whole match at Palace. You couldn't get 3 matches split half and half that were more different. At home, we are, you look at it, we've won 4 out of 5 in the league. And I think is it 3 out of 3 in the cup. So home form's good, but, Villa started off very well. They had a great result. I think they're top of the Champions League table as well after 3 games. So, Villa have been flying. So to come out and absolutely bury them second half was superb. Absolutely super. I think it's very unexpected, but really pleased.
Yeah. I mean, Jose, let me bring you in here. And are you going to be finished chewing in about 5 seconds by the time I've asked the question? Okay, cool. It's a strange one, isn't it? I've called Tottenham Jekyll and Hyde. And by the way, I haven't changed my mind on that. But normally we're Jekyll and Hyde from game to game. Today was Jekyll and Hyde from half to half. Becoming a bit of a habit, isn't it? Where players kind of need a sort of kicking up the backside at half time, and then we're coming out and putting teams to the sword. It happened with West Ham. It's happened again today. Good to see, but what do you make of the whole Jekyll and Hyde first half, second half performance?
I'll go back a step further on the show that we did on Thursday, Savva.
Yeah.
I turned around and I said, and I think you agreed with me, I said, I'm never worried when Tottenham are at home. When Tottenham are at home, the crowd behind us, I'm not worried. This season, Tottenham have played well at home. Even in our one and only defeat, I thought we played well enough that day as well. And we seem to be, the Jekyll and Hyde for me seems to be the home and away form at the moment. Mm-hmm. We need to find some of the source of the tea that we're drinking at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We need to take that with us on the road and have some of that on the road so we can play on the road like we do at home, because we seem to be Jekyll and Hyde in that aspect. This in the first half, Ian, you were at the match, so you probably you had a better view and a different view to what I saw on TV. But for me, I didn't think we had a bad first half. I just thought it was 2 people. I just thought it was 2 teams that cancelled themselves out, that were nullifying each other. And I didn't think we were that bad, to be honest, in the first half.
I thought we played well first half. They had 2 attacks. We were fortunate. Watkins should have put them 2 up just before half time, what he went through. But you got to capitalise on moments like that. And it was pretty much in terms of attacking. it was all Spurs, but there was no creativity. There was no final ball. We couldn't cut them open. The build-up was too small, too slow. And it was frustrating. We didn't deserve to go in 1 down, for sure.
I thought we were rubbish in the first half.
Sorry, who were?
Spurs.
That's what we want, Dan. That's what we want. We want controversy. Why were we rubbish in the first half,
I was so
Dan?
disappointed, Ian. I was so disappointed. What did we
We're
do?
rubbish at Palace, Dan.
Yeah, that's another match. But this, talking about that game today, I was so disappointed at half time. I just expected more. We didn't even have a shot, I don't think.
No, we didn't.
How did Villa play? Dan, how did Villa play first half then?
Villa were set up well. They were tight. They had the better opportunities than us. They could have scored 2 or 3 goals. They hit the post. We had Onana hit the post, and then there was who else? There's a chance. Watkins, he fluffed his lines, didn't he? Got put through. So no, I was rubbish was probably a bit too harsh, but I was very disappointed in that first half.
So to me, they nullified each other. Tottenham and Villa in the first half nullified each other. I felt that we weren't winning in the first half. We weren't winning enough second ball in the first half. However, in the second half, different story altogether. We won a lot of the second ball in the second half. The intensity seemed to have gone up, and we won more of the second ball, which you weren't doing as much in the first half. But I wasn't disappointed at half time. I was disappointed we were 1-0 down, but I weren't disappointed in the sense that I didn't think that we hadn't put effort in it and we weren't playing well. I wasn't disappointed in that aspect. And like we said on Thursday on the show, Savva, when I watch Tottenham at home, I don't sit behind the sofa going like that and swearing and chucking things at the telly, because I always think that we've got goals in us at home and we're always going to create opportunities, whether they come in the first 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes, or any other time throughout the game. I'm always hopeful at home we're going to create stuff. And it ended up being like that in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, look, if I probably sit on the fence with this, I kind of a bit of both. For me, I thought Spurs, it was typical Spurs first half in terms of, I thought, we had the ball, and I think we expected to have the ball, but I thought Villa set up brilliantly against us first half. And I thought Onana in that first half, I thought was absolutely exceptional in terms of sitting, protecting, mopping up at the back. I thought they had a really good defensive line, a good defensive shape. And it really reminded me, now I look back on it, and I think I mentioned it a few times in my watch-along, it really reminded me of the West Ham game as well, where I thought West Ham first half had a really good defensive shape. Their player was Rodriguez, who kept coming back, mopping everything up. Second half, though, was just, it's chalk and cheese. Because first half, like Dan said, I can't remember an opportunity first half. A few wild shots from outside the box. Corners weren't really working. But second half was completely different. And guys, I touched on this earlier, and I'll come back to you, Lubo. I know we say one game can't make such a big difference, but this was huge, because had Villa had won the game today, Spurs are 8 points off the top four. 8 points, and that's a huge gap. It's now only 2 points, and that's the fine line in football, right? That one game can be the difference between, God, we're miles away, and hang on, we're in the mix. So whatever is half time, Lubo, the tempo went up, and I just felt everything was quicker. I don't know about you, but I felt like we were whipping balls into the box quicker rather than overpassing it, and almost catching them on the break. What you were there? You were in the stand. What did you think that was different from the second half to the first half?
We just set we were just quicker moving the ball. It was superb.
Yeah.
I think also what helped when Morgan Rogers went off.
Agreed.
And they switched from literally a 4-5-1 to a 4-4-2.
Yeah.
Which gave us a little bit more space. I thought Saul was absolutely exceptional today. For me, he was our man of the match.
Agreed.
I think Dragusin at the back was excellent. Proper defender. Not that the other two aren't, but an old-fashioned, like the big, tough tackling defender, good in the air. And Solanke second half, superb, absolutely superb. That's what they've spent the big money on. And the dink over Martinez.
Lovely goal.
Beautiful.
Lovely goal.
And he got in the box. He was getting in the box today. I think he had 7 shots today, something like that. You know, he hasn't had a shot for 5 games, I think.
Yeah.
So, guys, I think the turning point in that game is when we got that second goal. It was crucial. And also the substitution. And I think Emery made a mistake. He brought off a midfielder and he put on a forward. And the game really opened up. And then we got the third goal from it. So yeah, so it was, obviously praise us, of course. We did really well. But Emery there, I don't know why he did that. Anybody want to comment on that?
I agree with you. To be honest, I said at half time, look, I still felt we were in the game, of course. I didn't feel like they were blowing us away or anything. We said it's a big 45 minutes. But again, I liken it to the West Ham game. It felt like both those teams in the first halves kind of sat in, had a game plan, 2 banks of 4. Then both of them tried to open up a tiny bit more in the second half. And that's where we come into our own. And listen, credit where it's due. I've been very critical of Ange. I thought today he got everything spot on. The substitutions worked. Yeah. Bringing in Suma, I thought he had a lot more legs and energy than Bentancur. And it really helped because in the first half, I thought that McGinn, Tielemans and Onana, it did look a little bit like it was very much boys v men, in my opinion. I thought they were out getting into every tackle. Second half, I thought Basuma really helped Bentancur. And Basuma really helped Sarr. And to your point, Lubo, I thought Sarr today, and I've been critical of him, I thought Sarr today for 90 minutes was brilliant. I thought he was everywhere on the pitch. He's the one that kept stopping the Aston Villa counter-attacks, starting the far attacks. So for me, I agree with that.
Best game in the Spurs shirt, I think.
100%.
Definitely Sarr today. He was different class.
Yeah, Sarr was good, man. I spotted that. Sarr, I thought he was fantastic today, especially second half. I think he was the standout performer. He was everywhere. He was involved in 2 of the goals. He was getting up and down that pitch. And I think it was a good decision for Ange to put him in the team. Because normally we've been seeing lately is him playing with Kulusevski and Maddison. And it hasn't been working. So I think it's a good call from Ange playing Sarr. And Sarr really helped us.
Well, let me ask you. Look, we talked a lot about, and I remember you and I had this conversation maybe 6 weeks ago when we did our first show together. Might not be that long, but was that the whole Kulusevski Maddison kind of that experiment. It will work against certain teams, but I think what Ange realised today, and I wholeheartedly agreed before the game with this, was that against a midfield like Villa's, you can't have 2 attacking midfielders. You need a bit more legs. You need more pressing, more energy. He got that right, didn't he, in terms of starting the double pivot as opposed to the single pivot, if we're going to call it that?
Yeah, he certainly did. To me, it was obvious. Well, do you know what? I actually thought about it before the game this morning because I did a show this morning. And I thought to myself, is he going to pick Maddison over Kulu? Although Kulu's been playing better, from the Man City game, Maddison got a whole rest, didn't he? Didn't play at all. So I thought to myself, is he going to throw a curveball and put Maddison in the side? But when I saw the team sheet, I wasn't surprised that he only went with 1 instead of both. There is time for everything in any different game, or in another game, so to speak. And this morning, when I did my show this morning, I turned around and I said, look, Gray and Bergvall definitely won't be starting today.
Yeah.
So therefore, the conundrum he's got is which 3 out of 5 he picks in the middle from the other 5 that are left over. And then the other selection headache I thought he had was he had an unfit Son who's been out for 3 weeks, who's unfit, and he's got a choice of does he bring Werner, or does he play Werner because Werner played against Man City, he's on a high, scored a goal, played well and whatever, or he's got Mikey Moore who got a rest. And I thought to myself, so the conundrum was what 3 out of 5 would start in midfield and who was going to play on the left-hand side. Obviously, he went for Sonny. Today, I agree with Ian, and Ian, you were there, and Sav, you watched it, and so has Dan. Sarr had he did have his best game that I've seen him play with Tottenham today. He did everything right. He did nothing wrong. He won the tackles. He got the ball, released it at the right time to players. He pushed on when he needed to, defended when he needed to. He was all over the pitch. I thought he'd done really, really well today. So, but I thought him and Bentancur did well to start off with, and then substituting Bentancur for Biss was, he did it at the right time, because obviously they know what the work players loads are, and they know, who's at what levels, and the substitutions worked a treat today. I mean, I was a bit surprised with Sonny coming off so early. I don't know what it was like in the stadium, but I thought Sonny would have
Son, Jose. So was Son. His body language and his face was not happy at all, was he, when he came off?
I mean, I put a comment in my group, and I turned around and said, "Is Sonny even here today? Is he even fit? What is Sonny doing? He hasn't taken and gone past Cash once." And that was at half time, right? And that was at half time. And then all of a sudden, 4 minutes into the second half, he whipped that cross past Cash. Excellent cross.
Fantastic.
To get us the goal. And then, what 4-5 minutes after that, he was substituted. 54th minute. We scored in the 49th.
Was it 54th, Jose? I thought it was an L.
No, 54th minute. He took him off early. 54th minute. And that's why I was surprised. But then, the guy can't buy a break, can he? The person that came on for him. And the person that came on for him tore a hamstring setting up Solanke's goal. So I think the left wing for Tottenham Hotspur is definitely a bogey position. Son, Richarlison, Odegaard, all the players that played down that left seem to be injured or out of the team for one reason or another. It's just madness.
Don't you think, guys, it was a bit of a shock result today?
I called 3-1 before the game started. And that's without Van der Ven.
I thought 2-1. But yeah, I mean, on paper, was it a 4-1 game? I think Villa fans might argue that it wasn't a 4-1 game. Not that we not that we care, but I thought we fully deserved it. At half time, I would have said 1-0, 1-0 would have been about right. But second half, I thought we were brilliant, and we really stepped it up. But listen, I want to go into the players that played. I want to look at a couple of individual players. Before we do, guys, girls, please get over to the Spurs Analyst and subscribe. Also, get over to LTEL Cockerell. Mods, I know that a lot of my mods are in the chat. I've seen you in already. Please put their links in, and let's listen. I don't care whether or not we've all got polar opposite views. We're all Tottenham fans. We're all Tottenham creators, and I've got respect for any Tottenham creator, even if I disagree with them 100%. So please get over and subscribe to as many Spurs channels as you can. It's really, really, it makes a difference, guys, right? Because we put a lot of our own spare time as well as working into these shows. So please go and subscribe to all of the channels. Just quickly before we do, Jim Van de Bowden, I think that's a wonderful name. Brilliant, Jim. Thank you for becoming a channel member. Really appreciate you. George, who's always here, always supporting, one of my main mods. I said, big up everyone. Happy birthday, Savva. Thanks, George, but I do feel like I'm milking the birthday thing a little bit now. It was like 48 hours ago, but thank you very much. I really do appreciate you and everything you do. Ethan Bates has come in and said, whether or not Ange is making the right subs, he did today. We've been more proactive in making them since Brighton, which is hugely positive for me. Yeah, the whole subs are irrelevant to me kind of comment seems to be very flippant now, because since then he has been making a lot of subs. But big up to you, Ethan. Really appreciate you. And Tottenham Forever said, to all I hate Ange, but today I can't find anything to hate him on. Today, do you all agree? Today, Ange, well done. I want to see this every game. I think what you're trying to say there is that you don't like Ange, but today you've got to give him maximum praise. I don't agree that I don't hate Ange. I've got question marks about Ange, but yeah, today I think the whole panel will agree that we could be hypercritical about marking from corners, but when you've won 4-1 at home against one of your rivals, I don't feel like we need to really go down that route. But big up Tottenham Forever. Thank you for that. Guys, I want to talk about Radu Dragusin, and I'm informed that is the way to say his name. Might be wrong. Back-to-back games for Dragusin. If I'm not wrong, I can't really remember when that's ever happened before. And like you guys said, I don't know if it was Jose or Ian said it, he's so different to Romero and Van der Ven, because Romero's more of your want to step into midfield, kick anything that moves, and he did today, and it was undoing. Van der Ven's more of a, how good is it at the back? Not sure. We just know he's very, very quick and he covers things up. Radu Dragusin's a centre-back. Like, he's a throwback, isn't he? He wants to defend, wants to put his head on things. He's not bothered about bringing the ball out and being that guy that sprays 70, 80-yard passes. We're going to need him now, guys, right? And what have you made of him the last couple of games? City and Villa. What have we made of Radu Dragusin?
Well, he lost the possession 7 times today, so he did pretty well.
Say that again, sorry, Dan.
He lost possession 9 times today.
9 times?
Yeah, did anyone notice?
To be honest, I didn't really notice that much. I mean, I don't really remember him losing possession at all. But if you say so, but what did you think of his performance, Dan? Like from a marking point of view, tackling on the ball, what did you think of him?
Sorry, can I just say before you asking that, you got a striker in your chat asking whether his membership would come through, and it has. It came through at 7:41. Savva, new member, striker.
Right, let's have a look. Bear with me. Apologies, striker. Sorry, I've got a lot of comments. Yes, there it is. Sorry, for some reason.
All right.
It's not saved. Sorry, Dan. I'll come back to you in 1 second. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Striker, thank you so much for being a channel member. Big up to you. I take it you're a Liverpool fan from the thumbnail. Really appreciate you becoming a member. And apologies, for some reason it hasn't saved into my folder. So apologies, but big up to you. Sorry, Dan, go on. So Radu Dragusin today, and off the back of the Man City game, what are we making of him?
So he did play quite high today, looking at his heat map. So he wasn't sitting deeper than we normally would. You know, I mean, we always played a high line, so Ange didn't really adjust it, looking at his heat map of where he's been most of the game. I mean, he didn't make any tackles. He made 1 interception. He won 1 ground duel, and he won 3 aerial duels. Now, how I see this, I just don't think Villa really gave us much to worry about today. If you look at the game on a whole, yes, there was moments. He wasn't really tested that much, but what he did do was, it was fine. It was okay. He put in the shift. There wasn't any glaring errors or mistakes. So yeah, it was just an okay performance. I don't know what everyone else thinks.
Interesting. I mean, first of all, smash the likes. There's 504 people in it and 100 likes. That's like having a striker that scores 1 in 5. That is shocking. Can we at least get that to 250 so that every other chance goes in? Thank you. Jose, Lubo, Dragusin, Dan, some pretty sorry if you don't mind me saying, Dan, I feel like that's a pretty scathing indictment of Dragusin today. What did you guys think of him? Do you agree? Do you think he was better than that? What are we saying?
Thought he played well. Thought he played really well. You know, if you're looking at, you know, it's, how can I liken it? I liken it to Vicario, where people say, oh, he's flapping, he's not good with his feet, or he could be better. He's a brilliant shot stopper. That's what he's there to do. Dragusin's there primarily to defend. Villa had 1 shot on target the whole match, and that was the goal. So that's fair to say I thought the defence did very well. And the team did well defending. And I also think that's helped by the fact, and I allude to what you guys were saying a few minutes ago, that Ange is playing Bissouma or Bentancur with Sarr, any 2 out of those 3, rather than 1 out of the 3 and playing Maddison and Kulusevski. And the team's better balanced, so it defends better, and that helps the defence as well. You know, I mean, City hardly had a shot on Wednesday, and Villa have had 1 on target all game. So, you know, hats off to the defence. You know, we've slaughtered them enough over the last year, but you know, the last few days, and I think that a lot of it is to do with playing 2 deeper lying midfield players and just playing 1 out of Maddison and Kulusevski. You know, if you're playing Ipswich, maybe that's different. But
so, Ian, what made him be? What was it then? What made you say he's been good today? What stood out for you?
I think he organised well. I think his positional sense was good. Remember, he's also playing on the wrong side.
Yeah, that's good point.
So it's difficult. And if you notice, when the ball was coming to him first half, particularly because he was in front of me, he turned back onto his right foot a lot of the time and just played the ball square to Romero. He sort he cut back in. Whereas someone like Mickey is very good going forward. He's comfortable. He's left-footed the same way Jan Vertonghen did. But it's different when you're a right footer playing on the left. It's not so easy.
No,
and
that's a very good point.
I think he did well. And he doesn't hardly loses a ball in the air. I don't know what happened with the goal. There was so many players in the way that I think, from what I was told, he got Vicario saved it and the guy just hooked it back in. But I think apart from that, I think he had a good game. Yeah, as a defender.
He wasn't dribbled past at all. And I just want to talk about him a bit in the Man City match. Now, I think the Man City match suited him a lot more because we were kind of on the back foot and we couldn't play the high line. Man City forced us into that. So I think when we talk about Radu, I think he is good at just defending that box, keeping in position, like you said, Ian. The high line, obviously, time will tell. But look, overall, he's been steady. Would you say, everybody? Steady performances, and hope it continues because we need him because we haven't got a lot of other cover at that centre back. So, yeah.
I would say it's difficult as well, right? Jose, let me bring you in here. I think it's difficult because when you are... Look, Romero and Van der Ven is clearly the first choice centre-back pairing, and every club's got a first choice centre-back pairing. So it's really difficult when a centre-back comes in such an important position and he gets 90 minutes here and then not another 90 minutes for another 3 or 4 weeks. I think the fact that he's coming into 2 big games at home, I think, obviously it would have been a very different game had Haaland have been playing and we had seen him up against somebody of that ilk. But I think he's had 2 good games in there. And I'm going to ask the question, Jose, and I think a lot of people, this might send a few shocks through them. I actually think, and I'm going to say this quietly so that it doesn't go crazy, I actually think in the last 2 games, Spurs have looked a lot better at the back when Ben Davies has come on for Romero. I'm just put it out there. All the hate Ben Davies gets, I actually think when Davies has come on, Jose, we've actually ended up looking like a back 4 with 2 centre-backs that are in line with each other and no one's running. What do you make of it, Jose? And then we'll come to look at that good-looking bloke that's just joined. So, what do you make of it, Jose?
Right, first and foremost, talking about Dragusin, I thought Dragusin was before these 2 games. I didn't rate Dragusin at all. Before these 2 games, every time I'd seen him play for Tottenham, he looked clumsy, jittery, nervous, out of position. It's probably because he's trying to get to know the players that he's playing with and that. But he didn't look, to me, the 25 million pound defender up until these last 2 games. And I suppose, in all honesty, looking at it, it's because he hasn't been exposed to playing 2 games on the trot. Because you need game time. And he played against Newcastle. But other than Newcastle, I don't think he started. He started in the European game where he got sent off after 9 minutes. So apart from that, he's had a whole game against Newcastle. Other games have been like coming off the bench and stuff like that. But these 2 games, he's played back-to-back games. And it's confidence, isn't it? It's a confidence thing that he's got. That, he plays with confidence because he's actually starting. He knows that he must know himself in his head. Unless I make a major cock-up, I can stay in this team because there's no one that can come in and replace me because they're all injured. So as long as I don't cock up and I play, I will stay and remain in this team. So I think, consistency of having 2 games on the spin has helped him out no end. And
it's not going to be just 2, is it, Jose?
No, it's going to be more, He knows
Romero and Van der Ven. I mean, look, let me segue that into Marlon. Welcome to the show. Lovely to see you. How are you? Are you well?
Good. I am good. I'm good. And look at these beautiful people in front of me. Come on. Come on, you Spurs.
Marlon, can I just ask you, before you answer a question, Marlon, what was your prediction for the score today, mate?
Mate, I predicted 2-2.
Okay,
you're so negative. Get off. You're so negative. Go and support someone else.
Savva, I've already been told that already. Someone's asked me if I'm a Spurs fan, and I thought, really? Come on.
Don't worry. I've had so many comments saying, "Oh, your team Aston Villa didn't do well today," and I'm like, "My team Aston Villa." Anyway, Marlon, look, we're talking centre backs, and we're talking that area. Look, I mean, Christian Romero. I said before the game, my worry with Romero is that sometimes he steps into midfield, puts in these outlandish tackles when you're thinking you really don't need to. And today's a huge example of that. And he's actually ended up injuring himself. I'm going to ask you this question. With him and Mickey van der Ven now both carrying injuries, do you think it's as big an issue not having them both playing, with Dragusin and Davis playing, or do you think we are going to miss them a lot? What do you reckon? I'll ask everyone else this in a second as well.
It's an interesting conversation, because if you go back to last season when it was Royale and Davis, when they started getting going, they wasn't actually that bad together. I think, and people kind of forgot that. Like that period they had, we were losing games and winning games, but as soon as they started to get used to each other, I think the only real game where they really struggled was Man City away, right? Which, let's be honest, anyone's going to struggle at Etihad. But looking at how the way Davis and Dragusin have started this season, like Dragusin has probably been, and I think I heard Jose say it, is where you kind of go, it's been stuttering, right? He hasn't been striking anybody with confidence. But Wednesday and today, you look at it and go, actually, let's give this man a run of games, right? Let's see how he starts settling in over the next few weeks, right? And if I'm being completely honest, he's the best player in the year, right? So if we need to sort out this set piece issue, right, at a certain time, he's going to be key to this because he's very good in the air. But with Ben Davis, look, if we leave him exposed, right, this is where the team have to kind of rally round. That you haven't got Van der Ven now, you haven't got Romero. It all depends on how Udogie comes into all of this, right? And Udogie's very key, or whoever's playing left back, because if they leave Ben Davis exposed, there's only going to be one result. So for me right now, I'm looking at it's a team game, and Ange saw what happened last year, right? So you can't leave Ben Davis exposed. So I don't think, look, over the next couple of weeks, we will see, right? Because Udogie, for me, and Udogie's position has completely changed to what he was doing last year, right? Yeah. And everyone is starting to notice that. And now that Ben Davis is back in the team, I think we might see why he hasn't been as far forward as he has, inverting as much and whatnot. But again, it's just going to be down to what happens over the next few weeks. It's going to be game time. Only issue is that they're going to be playing Thursday, Sunday. Can they manage that? That's the other issue now. Because last year we only had one game a week.
Well, this is the thing. And guys, if we talk about that now, I'm assuming Romero and Van der Ven, neither of them will play on Thursday. And okay, Dragusin, Davis will play, and probably Archie Grant right back. And sorry, Udogie, it looks like you're going to have to play again. It looks like you're never going to get played. The worrying thing about that, I'll go to the top row here. The worrying thing about that, guys, is I can't think of, and maybe someone's escaping me, but I can't think of a single defender that will be on our bench on Thursday night.
Porro?
Jed Spence?
Jed Spence.
Porro will, though.
Yeah, okay, so Pedro Porro, but in terms of, Pedro Porro will be.
And they'll call up Dorrington as well.
I think so. I think they will.
They'll call Dorrington up as cover.
Yeah.
They will.
All right, so I want to talk about Romero. Sorry, Savva. I want to talk about Romero. I'm getting a bit sick to death of him, to be honest.
Mate, go for it. Listen, go for it. You do what you've got to do, mate.
Romero, for me, what is he doing today in that second half? Getting himself injured, flying in. He's so undisciplined, isn't he? We did look better when Davis came in, didn't he? And I'm looking at now of if I could choose to give Radu a run in the team, then Romero on the right. Because Romero, for me, he's a liability, isn't he? Could have got sent off again.
Well, there's the question, guys. Is he a liability? Is Romero a liability? There's a question.
Yeah. I think he gets frustrated sometimes in this system. And I think that's the reason why he suddenly becomes, what people say is a liability, is the fact that he starts thinking, I don't want to sit here. He starts, you saw it under Conte as well. He will start pushing, when he starts getting frustrated with the game, he will start coming out of position and trying to move forward and trying to win the ball higher up. It might be something more on Bentancur, was probably losing a lot more tackles in that middle and felt like he needed help. So what Romero kind of does, he thinks head first, that Argentinian, South American style, I'm going to go win that ball. Right, Romero has been the same since day one. He hasn't really changed, but I think in this system, because of the way it is, when he's next to Van der Ven will always cover him, right? So we kind of don't highlight it as much. But there's no Van de Ven today, which means it was left with Dragusin, right? Who's not as quick. So people are going to get more frustrated with what he's kind of doing. And I just think it's part of Romero's game, unfortunately, that we just have to get used to. Because when he was actually on the ball today, he was the one in the first half, right? And I heard you guys speaking about earlier, but he was the one trying to thread the balls through because it was so congested in that middle of the park. It was becoming a bit of an issue that only Romero became our outlet, right? And I think with Romero, he's still a great defender. No matter what, look, for me, he's still a great defender. Not world class as in what people like to throw at. But I still think he's a quality defender. If you went and put him in a different system, in a different team, like when he is for Argentina, completely different player.
Romero needs babysitting. Come on, guys. He needs babysitting. He needs an experienced defender next to him to sort him out.
He does. Yeah, but you look at let's take now. I remember this conversation. You look at Saliba and Gabriel, right? When Saliba goes to play for France and he's not protected, we start seeing all the mistakes on X and everything like that. But put him in an Arsenal system where it suits him, he looks world class. So you kind of have to take the rough with the smooth sometimes. And for me, you go and put Romero in Argentina, he's completely different to what the same Romero we get for Tottenham. So I know a lot of people get frustrated with it, but you just have to kind of go with the motion, basically, with what you're going to get with Romero in a Spurs shirt. Well, that's just my opinion on it.
Let me go to Lubo and Jose. I mean, it's an interesting one because at one point, I mean, when we had the likes of Davinson Sanchez and Eric Dyer and Emerson Royal playing there, everyone was like, oh my God, Romero is without a doubt our best centre-half. We need players that are on his level. Is that still the case? Is he still our best centre-half, chaps? Is he? Or
I think he is.
He is. So I'm just going to chuck that to you guys.
I think he is. Take out the temperament parts.
Yeah.
And that was a mad tackle that he went into today when he got hurt. Still think he's our best centre-back.
You got bullied today, Ian. You got pushed off the ball by Watkins. It's not good enough.
Okay, he's human. He's not going to get it right 100%. But
I don't know what you're seeing, man. I don't know what you're seeing. He's not been good this season. He's not been good. We can't. I mean,
he hasn't been at his best this year, Dan. Agreed, and he's been at fault. He's been at fault for quite a lot of the goals.
He has. We can't.
But he's still our best defender.
Got to tell the truth.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Everyone else, is he our best centre half?
Can I just finish off, Sad, by saying
mate. Go on.
I think Romero will be better, and I banged on about this for the last year, in a back three with Dragusin and Van de Ven, because they all complement each other and they've all got different strengths. And I think that, and you've got Porro and Udogie, who are wing backs, they're not full backs. And I think we'll be, it'll look a lot better balanced, playing with three at the back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Jose, Romero, it seems to be more a conversation. I've always had this opinion, Jose, and everyone will know because I get so much stick on it. I've always said that I like Romero, but I'm not quite sure the fuss. I don't think, oh my God, what if we lost Romero to Real Madrid? I think there's loads of centre-backs that could come in and do a job. But where are you with Romero? He's been here 3 years now, so we've seen a lot of him. What do you make of him, Jose?
You could lose any defender, central defender in any team to Real Madrid, and you've got the money. You're always welcome to go and buy another centre half. We're no different to any other team. No, we aren't. Sure. If they wanted to come in and buy Saliba, take him off Arsenal's hands, let Madrid do that. Arsenal would just fund the money and buy another centre half. We'd all do it. If someone like Madrid came in and paid the money, we'd all. But for me, Romero, if I looked at all three defenders, all three centre halves together, and I looked at the strengths and weaknesses, overall, in general, he would be the best out of the three at this present moment. At this present moment in time, but today I'm going to say that today elephants have long memories. I think a lot of people remembered the Villa game from last year and what happened at Villa last year, and it wasn't just Romero that put his foot in a tackle today. There was a few other Spurs players that also did today. It's as if they wanted to. It's as if they wanted to get their own back on a few of the Villa players. I saw some.
I don't know who you're talking about.
I saw some tasty tackles going in today from a few players. It weren't just Romero.
Jose, how did Bentancur not get booked for that challenge?
There's about Bentancur went in, Romero went in. I saw Porro go in.
Yeah.
I saw who's the other one? There was another player that went in as well. I just thought, wow, they're really going for these people. Can I just point out something? I just wanted to point out on my show this morning, right? I turned around before. Obviously, this is before we played Villa, and I turned around and I said, I'm a bit wary of Villa. Everyone's propping Villa up that they're this, that, and the other because they're high up in the Premiership. They've won 3 on the bounce in the Champions League, and I think that they've done really, really well. But on my show this morning, what I said is, what I found with Villa is I don't know whether it's a plan that Emery's got, but to get the points on the board early, because apart from the Carabao Cup, Villa don't rotate their team. Villa have gone in with their first 11 for most of their games, apart from the Carabao Cup. Now, that's, you guys all know, playing in 4 competitions, that is not sustainable over a season. And I was talking about that this morning. Now, not only have we beaten them, but they've also, I believe, come out with injuries as well, which will make their squad, and like us as well, it will make our squad will be thin up with injuries, but so will they. And I was saying it this morning, it's just interesting. It looks like Villa have gone all out to get as many points on the board early in 2 of the competitions, but now it will steadily catch up with them because I don't think they've rotated enough.
I'm going to slightly disagree with that. When I've seen Villa, I think they have chopped and changed at the back and in midfield. Their forward line, sometimes it's Ramsey, sometimes it's Bailey. But I get what you're saying. For me, what I said, Jose, and I don't know if you guys agree, was, do I watch Aston Villa and ever think, oh my God, they're frightening? No. But they're a very consistent team. So, yes, we can beat them today, but for 2 years, that is shown, for 2 years consistently, they've never dropped out of the top 4 points-wise. So for 2 years, only 3 clubs have taken more points than Unai Emery's Aston Villa. Do I think they're world beaters? No. Can we beat them? Yeah, absolutely. I think most of us said before the game we were going to win, other than Marlon. But you know, I think they'll be there or thereabouts again, because I think there's so many poor teams in this league. They will pick off those poor teams. We will pick off those poor teams, and I think it's going to be all about which team, if we're going to put us versus Villa, which team does better than against the bigger teams. I think that's where the odd points are going to be made up, because the likes of Watkins, the likes of Rodgers, the likes of Solanke, the likes of Son, these guys and girls, they pick off the lower teams. Can they pick off the bigger teams? That's the question, right? Can they do it? And Villa have been very consistent at that for 2 years. So I can't look at one game and go, oh my God, like people, I saw someone in the chat go, I told you we were better than Villa. Sure, we're better than Villa in a one-off game, but does that translate to being better than Villa over the last 2 years? No, it doesn't. So it swings and roundabouts. But look, we beat a good team today. I thought we beat a really good team that set up really well, and I've got nothing but credit for Ange and for the players. I thought we were brilliant today. I thought we fully deserved it. I thought we were brilliant. So that's
what you said, Savva. Villa are consistent, and that's what we need to be. We need to be like that, don't we? We need to be more consistent.
Sure.
And yes, they lost today. It can happen, right? It can happen. We did play well in that second half. But if we want to become a decent team moving forward, and if Ange wants to get it right, we need to start having that consistency. I don't know if you're going to go on to that later, Savva, but maybe we can talk about it now.
It's my favourite word, Dan. Of course I'm going to talk about consistency. Of course.
Let's go for it.
I should change the name of my channel if we're going to be brutally honest.
So I've seen a lot today, and look, I'm very happy we've won. But again, people are getting carried away. I told you so. Like, what? It's just so annoying. Like, come on, look, the game, we did do well in that second half. Fair play. But let's see if we can keep it going. Got Ipswich up next. Now we've got the European match against Galatasaray. And then I think we've got to go Man City away. We've got to put a run together, because we haven't won 3 games in a row since the beginning of last season. So there's a lot of work to do with this team, a lot of work. So I'll always be grounded until I see some consistent improvement in results and in performances.
Yeah.
Can I just jump in on that? Isn't the consistency because the consistency at home, apart from the Arsenal game this season, has been relatively the same, right? So there has been some at home. The problem, and we can all see it, is our away form. Because
would you like to see something, Marlon?
You go on.
I'm ready to go. It's a really good talking point. It's a really good talking point. The difference for me between Spurs being a top team and a good team that pull out wins like this every now and then. And like people, yes, listen, I thought it was a great win today. I'm not going to knock it at all. But we don't win games like this enough. We really don't. And there you go. In the home form table, this is the entire Premier League for 2024-25. So this is 10 games in, every team in the Premier League. We've got the third best home form. And let me just show you, I'll tell you who's got the best home form. I'm sure you can probably... Liverpool have got the best home form in the Premier League. Okay, Liverpool have got the best home form in the Premier. Hang on. Home. Tottenham have got the third best home form. Brentford and Man City have got the first and second best home form. Brentford and Man City, followed by Spurs, followed by Liverpool, followed by Arsenal. Okay, so when it comes to home form, can't grumble. Right now. If we then look at the away form, where do you guys think we are in the away form table?
16th or 15th, around the bottom there.
14th.
16th, I reckon.
16th, 15th. Dan, where do you reckon we are?
Bottom three, probably. We're terrible away.
No, 14th. I'd say 14th. Here we go.
Yeah, 14th.
Spurs are 14th. Now, just to put it in perspective, so our away form is the same as Everton's, only 2 points better off than Crystal Palace, Wolves and Ipswich. So for me, listen, games like that today, and I think it's brilliant. If we're going to turn White Hart Lane, I'll always call it that. I'm not making any apologies for that, gentlemen. If we're going to turn White Hart Lane into a fortress, I'm all for it. Absolutely brilliant. And like Jose, we had this chat, as you said, on Thursday. When Spurs are playing at home, even when we go 1-0 down, I always think, you know what, we're going to come back here. But the chalk and cheese nature, the Jekyll and Hyde, the bipolar, whatever you want to call it, from our away form to our home form, for me, is what's going to stop us being, are we a team that challenges for fourth, or are we a team that challenges? And I think that is the big difference, guys. I'm not making that up. They are the facts. We are third versus 14th. Somehow, guys, we've got to get that balance, haven't we? And we've got to find what's not working in our away form. Does everyone agree?
Yeah, so what do people think why this is happening? Why are we getting so many away defeats? I have my opinion on it, but I'm interested to hear what everyone else thinks first.
I don't think we're that far off. It looks bad. It does look bad. You know, we got 4 points out of 15. It's poor.
Yeah.
But we threw away 3 at Brighton. We threw away 2 at Leicester. And for me, funny enough, I was just catching up on an old match of the day today. I was watching a Newcastle away game. We're all over them. We were all over them. It was all Tottenham. And we threw away 3 there. So there's 8 points that we've thrown away. Palace, forget. That was one of those days we were absolutely awful. Didn't deserve anything. Could have been playing now. We wouldn't have scored. But those other games, seriously, Leicester, Newcastle, Brighton, Newcastle, we're just throwing points away. Just
Ian, sorry, buddy. Sorry,
but
man.
the results are facts, right? Sorry, Dan, go on. The results are facts. Whether or not we want to say we were good in that game, the results are fact, right? So 4 points is factual, and that's got to be addressed, right? Sorry, Dan. Sorry.
Yeah, you know, we can't excuse this. And it's not just this season, it's last season as well, where we fell off as well. A lot of away games that we lost. There's definitely a mentality issue here with us going away from home. And also
this is not an Ange problem. The mentality and away form is not an Ange issue.
That's a problem at the moment. He's the manager.
But it's a Tottenham Hotspur issue for a long time.
It is, yeah. It's
only
ingrained
Poch really Poch. Yeah,
huh?
I know, but
Poch right?
was probably the... Yeah, in the sense of, I get it's his job, right? But he's only been here a year and a bit, and sometimes it does take time right? So for certain managers, just to bring up, but when we've gone through Jose, Conte, and now Ange, and our away form has been completely, it's not going to be a short-term fix. I get everyone wants it to be quick and easy, but it's not, right? Things like this will sometimes just take a little bit more time than it's supposed to, and it's going to be frustrating for us because that Palace defeat last week should never happen. Should never happen, right?
Sure.
But it did, and our away form. The only reason why the only team we've beat this season, right? And it's no surprise, away from home in the league is Man United because they allowed us to play, right? They wanted to come and play, and they allowed us to play, right? So there is a mentality thing here because at the Brighton game, that was probably the best half of football we saw this season, right? In any game, that includes any home game we've played, the best half of football that I've seen Spurs play. But the second half was complete contrast. Right, so I think at the moment where we've got to be a bit more patient, it's got to be sorted because Coventry, we were terrible away, yeah, and we won that, right? Bench Forest, we weren't even that great in that game, but again, we won that, right? So for me right now, look, the away form is concerning, but the home form is not, and I think Ange has seriously just got to sort that out, right? And then we might see a turning point. But the problem is, our next away game's what? Is it Man City, I believe? Is it Man City or someone like that?
Yeah, we'll turn the form there. Yeah.
No, yeah. So, but Man City will allow us to play. So it'd be quite interesting to see how we turn up there. The problem we've got is how do we then combat teams that are in our faces and we're away from home? And that mentality issue has got to change. And not just with the team, it's got to change throughout the whole club. Right, and I think then it will start feeding on the pitch because at the moment I think there's just a mental block that I can't put my finger on. And look, I get exactly what you guys are saying and just got to sort it out, but I don't think it's as quick and easy as people are making it out to be. Right, and this is what, like you said earlier, Sav, right, about Villa, right? Unai Emery he's a top class coach, right? Yeah. So that's why they have a bit more consistency. He's been at the top. He's managed at PSG. He's managed at Villarreal, I think, as well.
Yeah,
Villarreal. So he's been at those clubs. Yeah, so he's been at those clubs and had the experience where, unfortunately for us, Ange's learning on the job. We're probably the biggest club. Look, Celtic are a big club, don't get me wrong, right?
Yeah,
but his European form wasn't great. So actually, when he's come to the Premier League is a big contrasting league where you will get punished in any. Look, let's take Emery today. He has been punished, right, for not changing it around and being in that second half. He's been punished in the Premier League, but he's still a good coach. And the same thing will happen to Ange. The same thing happens to Pep, right?
Sure.
They will get right, and this is the issue. So for me right now, I think I'm willing to stick with Ange, and I think he's got time on his side. But I'm not going to get overreactionary on the away form yet because I have seen slight tweaks, right? Let's take the set piece situation. That's only the second corner we've conceded. I know over the last 2 years, last year we were terrible, but only the second corner we've conceded this season. So I want to see things progress up. Look, give me till Christmas and then see where my mind's at. But I'm not quite where you lot are at. I'm just willing to give this away form some time for him to change
Marlon,
it.
But Marlon, when you say you're
when
not
I say
where
you
we're
meant
at,
more Dan.
Look, I want to reply to Marlon.
Yeah.
I want to talk to Marlon about this. Because I just think so much of this is on Ange. He does not help the team. Going to places away from home, playing with that high line, suicide. Just sit back a bit, soak it up, mix it up, Ange. I want to see that. I want to see that moving forward. It's on Ange. It's also on the quality of signings that we've made in the summer. Where's the experienced players coming in? Where's the winners to help this team progress? Guys, I'm not having this.
But is that on Ange though?
It's on Ange. Ange needs to speak up. He needs to speak up. He needs to say, look, you're giving me X, and X. I need this, and this. It's not. I'm just.
Dan, whatever it is.
Maybe I'm overreacting, but I've just seen enough.
No. We're missing something. We're not a million miles away. Last season, we got battered at Fulham. We got battered at Brighton. I mean, that should have been 7-0 at half-time. Mm-hmm. We were 4 down at Liverpool within the hour. Apart from City and Arsenal away from home, which was early, first half. After Christmas, we were just dreadful. Away from home, we were getting outplayed and we were getting battered in certain away games. This year, we've lost 3-2 to Brighton. 1-0 to Palace, 2-1 to Newcastle. We're losing by the odd goal. We're not that far off. And whatever it is, whether you could be right, Dan, I definitely think that Ange's in-match management over the season has not been where it should be. It's been better. It's been far better recently. And I think it's little tweaks. Drop the, at Brighton, we're 2 up. We played well in the first half. We've been all over them.
I don't forget that Brighton result.
Correct. What he should have said at half time was, the Brighton players have probably walked into that dressing room and they've had a rocket from him. And, anyone with any sense would have realised that. So Ange should have said, right, they're going to throw everything at us first 10 minutes. Sit back, soak it up. Let's get through that and take it from there. And he didn't. He just carried on playing this ridiculous high line. And the players as well came out totally complacent, thought they won it. We smashed United 3-0. We're 2 up here. We've had a great win in Hungary in between. We're going to piss this. And they got the backside slapped.
Lubo, can I ask you a question? Do you think, in your mind then, and everyone please latch onto this, is it just a case of, look, when we're talking now about our away form and everyone's going, but Arsenal's away form and this away form and that, listen, we're purely talking about how do we go from here to there, right? It's always about how can we be better? Surely that has to be the point of anything in life, right? How do we do better, right? Is it just a case of being a little bit more pragmatic away from home? Is it a case of saying, right, we're going away to Crystal Palace on a tight pitch. You can't play Maddison and Kulusevski. You've got to have, I hate the words double pivot, by the way. We used to just call it a midfield, didn't we, guys, back in the day? Is it a case of just saying we need 2 midfielders rather than 1 midfielder? And is it that simple for you guys? Or is it like Marlon says, where it is purely mentality? I'm really intrigued as to what it is.
When you look at the second half on Wednesday night, they gritted it out. I think everybody thought City had scored just before half time. They're going to run away with it second half. I know I did. Yeah. And I was pleasantly surprised by the fact that they dug in, and they got through the next 45, 50 minutes. And that's what we should be doing in these away games. It's one thing in front of 60,000 at White Hart Lane. It's another thing going away from home. And you're right. I think it's a combination of a weak mentality, a style that should be more pragmatic too, and also particularly Leicester and Newcastle not taking those chances when they came along. I mean, the football against Leicester in the first 55 minutes was fabulous, and we should have been 3 or 4-0 up. We got to put teams away. We frittered chances away, and you got to bury teams when you're on top. You got to bury them. The way they came out, they scored 3 in 8 minutes. Was it against West Ham? Bang, bang, bang.
Does anybody in this panel and anyone in the chat truly believe Ange is the man to do this? Is he the man who's really going to actually kind of learn and change things? It's just not good enough. Like that high line, it just annoys the hell out of me. And that results against Palace and Brighton, where the game was in our hands, and we just completely thrown them.
The majority of teams in the Premiership, Dan, play with a high line. It's not just Tottenham Hotspur.
No, but away, Jose. It's away from home.
These teams, whether they play home or away, the majority of teams now play with a high line, whether they're home or away. It's not just a Tottenham thing. Majority of these teams play. A lot of teams in Europe are starting to play high lines, not as much as the Premiership.
It's not working, man. It's not working for us.
But this is okay. But Dan, this is a different argument for another day, mate. Because football for me has gone downhill in the last 20 years. Football, you're now being told where to stand, who to pass it to, where to receive it. We don't have the mavericks anymore. You don't have the people that play off the cuff. People are being told what to do, right? And that's how football is nowadays. And it's been like that for about 20 years. But it's just about the high line. I believe, in my opinion, and it's only an opinion, Ange last season was lambasted for this, and then it was that, and then it was that, and oh look at this, and oh look at that, right? And since last season, this season, he has made changes. We haven't conceded like we did from set pieces. Vicario is commanding his box more than what he used to, because he used to get bullied like a little school kid last season.
Oh, I'm not.
Then
I'm not sure about that, Jose. If I'm honest,
he's not.
I'm not sold on that comment at all.
Okay, did you see him come out and catch that cross about 12 yards from the goal line? He went and caught it today.
Mate,
He would have done that last season. Last season, Savva, he would have stood at his line with concrete boots.
Mate, I saw him come out and flap at a corner midweek, and we luckily cleared it off the line. I'm not sold on him at all.
I'm not saying him. What I said is there's been changes. Last year he had concrete boots on. He would never.
Jose,
leave
you've given him a pass. That sounds like you're giving him a pass.
Giving her a pass. Giving her a pass. But I've not been against Ange. I haven't. Listen, when Ange came in, he's our manager. Every manager that's been our manager at Tottenham, I've backed and I've supported. Even Christian Gross, I've backed and supported. I'll back our managers, but I'm not the person. I've not been the person that's gone in on him and said, well, he's a second-rate farmer manager. Oh, he's never done it anywhere before. Oh, he plays a high line. Oh, he plays inverted fullbacks. Oh, we concede from every corner. We concede from set pieces. I've heard all these stories. I've heard all these different people tell me these things. And to me, he was given a 4-year contract. And now, I keep saying this, if you align yourself to your people that are in charge of you, if you've been given a 4-year contract, it's because you must have, and Savva doesn't agree with this when I talk about roadmaps and stuff like that, and say you've got milestones and stuff that you've got to agree within the club. Now, for me, if you're going to
disagree with that.
Oh, I thought you told me in the previous show you did.
I don't disagree with that at all. I think you've absolutely got to have those things in place.
Oh, I thought you told me in the previous show. I was wrong.
No, listen, I'm all for it. I think for me, what I'd love is if you said to me, can Ange be our manager for home games and can we have a practical manager for away games? I'm all over it. I think it's an interesting conversation, the away form, because obviously we've won 4 away games in 19. So it is an issue. Yeah. And I guess, let's be honest, that is the one thing that's stopping us being better than we are. Whichever way we're looking at it, the whole form's good. All right, we lost to Arsenal. The home form is good. It's how can we translate that now? Because coming up away from home, we've got Man City. We've got Bournemouth, who we've seen beat Man City and Arsenal already at by the way, what a good manager he is, by the way, Areola. What a good man. What a good job he's done at Bournemouth.
Is he another Spanish manager?
It's all about the Spanish. There we go.
There's Pep, there's Areola, there's Unai Emery. Oh, this league has been infested.
But can I just say something? Let me say it. There's 504 people in here. And let me say this now, right? I know there's a lot of people that think I want Spurs to lose so that something I might have said a month ago comes right. That's not it at all, right? I want to sit here. Results like today make me sit here and go, hats off to you, Ange. Really liked that. Love that. Want to see more of that. Love that, right? But at the same time, I'm still pragmatic enough to turn around and say, okay, but Ange, that's great. We sorted out the home form. We look great. I'm not scared anymore. I'm not biting my nails at home. But now show me something different away. Because if you look at Spurs' last 5 Premier League games, it's been win, lose, win, right? Now, I think we're going to change that next Sunday because, let's be fair, if we don't beat Ipswich at home, you've got to ask questions. But the key thing for me, guys, is it's, again, can we stop that yes, no form? Other than that, I will start to warm to the guy. The substitutions that I'm seeing lately look a lot better on the whole. Don't get me wrong. Not great. I thought Palace was shocking. Today, loved the substitutions I saw. Loved the changes that he made. Look, guys, you know me. I'm old and I'm ugly enough to turn around and say, I got that wrong or I got this wrong. For me, all I ask for is some consistency. So for me, the next challenge for Ange is, what do we do with this away form? Right? If you just want to be...
Savva, sorry, can I come in here?
Hang on 1 second, Dan. If you want to be 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, don't worry about the away form. That's fine. But for me, I don't know. I'm sure you guys have all got it deep within you. I've got delusions of grandeur. I wanna. Right? Can we go? How do we compete in the next 2 years? And that, for me, the next step is the away form. And then I turn around and I'm so bored of people asking if I'm Ange in or out. I'm so bored of this question now. If I'm Ange in or out, I said Ange out about 7 weeks ago, and oh my God, it's all I get asked now. So sorry, I just wanted to get that out there live in front of 500 people so that people stop asking these goddamn stupid questions. Sorry.
Dan, can I just come back on something with you? Yeah, because I want to ask you this question.
Of course.
Because you said earlier about Romero, being, the cause of most of the mistakes and what's happening this season. But then you also said in the next breath about you're sick and tired of the high line away from home. But if you look at the goals we've conceded this season, most of them haven't been due to the high line. They've been down to individual errors.
Okay.
Right? So is it the high line or is it the individual errors that people are making? Because if you look, I think Newcastle, the second goal was down to the high line, but it's very rare we concede how we were last year where it was that high. So I believe it's so is it down to the mistakes, right? Or is it down to the high line? Because for me, I don't think the high line's been an issue this season.
It's just poor defending, and it's about how Ange puts the coaching into the defence and the time in the training sessions between games. He's obviously we've all heard him say he's not interested in focusing on the defence. He just wants to outscore teams, and it's just not realistic. We're not Real Madrid. We can't do that to every team every week. But fair point, Marlon. I get what you're saying. It's just poor. I don't know if that's answered your question, but it's just generally just poor defending.
That's answered my question. Yeah, that's answered my question. Yeah.
So, guys, I want to listen. First of all, people in the chat are saying, "Oh, let's be happy." I think, listen, if you watch the first hour of the show, everyone's talked about how happy we are. Everyone's very happy.
Oh, thanks, Savva. I turned up against the pressing, yeah.
Well, I think you're the only one that didn't predict a win today, Marlon. So, I get called negative. I need to get this all off somebody else. So I'm shifting it that way.
Move it over here. Shift it over to me.
Spurs Kings are the most negative channel on YouTube. Right? I'm just kidding. Guys, quickly while we're here, please subscribe to Spurs Danalyst, subscribe to El Cockerel, subscribe to Spurs Kings TV, and go and follow Lubo, who I believe is on. Are you on that X thingy, majiggy, Lubo? Are you on the X thingy?
Yes.
Yeah. On the X thingy. Okay.
That's the one. _61.
Guys, just a really interesting one. It's strange, isn't it? Because, look, Spurs this year, we won 5, drawn 1, lost 4. It's very, it's very hit and miss. But what's interesting for me is, do you guys know that we're 10 points worse off than this time last season?
Yeah.
Yet feel-good factor from a lot of the fan base seems higher. It's a really strange conundrum, isn't it? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Is it just a case of last year's start in the first 10 games was a complete anomaly, and we've got to disregard that and just go with this is what it actually looks like?
Look at our score. If you look at our fixtures, the 10 games that we were unbeaten for the first 10 games, we did not look. We weren't creating chances. We stumbled over the line in a few of them games, and And the thing is that you want the 3 points. That's what you want. You want the wins. You want the 3 points. We're playing differently this season. We're scoring more goals than that, but we've not got the points to match like we did last season. But I remember beating Luton 1-0, and I thought that we were shocking. I thought Luton outplayed. Is it Luton?
Yeah, I remember that.
Luton outplayed us. Mickey van der Ven.
Is that when Basuma got sent off?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And we won that game 1-0. And I remember other games at the start of the season that we were unbeaten, but we didn't deserve to win the games. We did win them, but we didn't deserve to win the games. I think the difference now is that even especially, I'm going to bang on about home games again. Even at home, we look like a proper team at home. We look like we're going to score goals. We look like we're going to create chances. And this wasn't the same last year, although we got points last year. We haven't had the points this year, and I think it's probably that part of it that people are seeing more of a team that could actually go out and do something, as opposed to team that stumbled last year. Although we were 10 points better off, we had 26 last year.
Yeah, I was putting a face at the Archie Gray comment, not you. Yeah, I just find it interesting. Go on, Marlon. I found it really interesting when someone said to me today. Do you know any? Someone said to me today, if we lose today, we're 13 points worse off than last year, and I was like, it doesn't feel like that. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like that.
Do you know what's quite funny, right? When you look at what the people last year, when they were quite negative on Ange was saying, right, is they were missing out the first 10 games and going, our form since then, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. But notice now, yeah, it's everybody.
You're mugging me
right?
off.
But notice it's now switched. It's now switched because like everyone's now saying we're now 16 points worse off than we were last year. But however, right, everyone's like, you've got all the people that are positive about Ange. I go, you got to take out the first 10 games because it wasn't the same, this, that, and the other. So it swings and roundabouts. Those first 10 games are always going to have to be included in this. And I think what people wanted to see was a change, a step in the right direction. And you can see, like, no matter how we want to put it or not, there is a step in the right direction. It's just not going to be as instant. And I think if you can go to your super chat, because I think that super chat is a lot of what the issue is.
Hang on. So Marlon comes onto my channel, right? Marlon comes onto my right, mugs me off, and then tells me when to read my super chat. All right, sorry, Marlon. Here we go.
But this for me, this is the issue. This is the issue. Ange in the media portrays a certain. He says things. And half the time, it's kind of like going, why are you saying that? And I think that's the problem, that we all kind of align that we want. When he comes out with, I always win stuff in my second season, us Spurs fans are going to be like, and especially the media, you'll be like, oh, now you're going to have to win something. But
well, look, let's read it then. Let's read the super chat. So Ethan, big up, always a huge supporter of the channel. Big up Ethan Bates. Has said the problem is that Ange isn't helping himself with comments in the media. The quality and age of the player being signed do not align to the instant success Ange is relentlessly alluding to. If we take that as a subject, again, this goes back to what I think a lot of us have talked about on shows, is one of the message coming from Ange has been very much about, I mean, it's always in different contexts, so we can't just say he says this outright, but the overarching is I win things in my second year. I want Spurs to be challenging. I'm not here for one trophy. I'm here for loads. And that's great. You want to hear that positives. And then on the other side of the things, you see Yang, Odeberg, Gray, Bergval. And it's like, I get it. I get what Ethan's saying. That isn't quite marrying up with this, right? So it's kind of like when you've got two magnets and they're pushing away from each other because they're not actually connecting. Guys, has Ethan got a point here? Is this a good point? On point?
Yeah.
I think Ange gets misconstrued when he talks at times as well. He talks and people, and it doesn't matter. We could have 10 people listening to the same thing of words that come out of his mouth, and 10 people walk back out, and it's like playing Chinese whistles. Repeat what Ange just said. What did he just say? And the 10 people will tell you something different, all 10. And that's what happens when he has his media talks. But what I will say, and I want to put this to bed for me personally, is Ange has said, right, that all the players, he signs them off, right? Ange only signs the players off that he is given. If people think it's Ange going out to buy players, you're completely wrong here. There's a team behind Ange that does that. And Ange will only sign off on the players that they give him to sign off on. So, you know, at the end of the day, can't blame everything on Ange about the players that come in. There's people in the club that take care of that. Ange just says, yeah, I do, or I don't want the player. But he only says, yeah, I do or don't to the player that they offer him. There are players this summer, and we all know, I think everybody on the panel is going to say this, agree with me here, where I say we are light. Our squad is light. We were about three players light in the summer. Now, whether they're 3 players or whether they're 3 established stars, whatever it may be, we're 3 players minimum light in the squad. And I would like to see us, if possible, try and do some bits in January just to improve the squad that we've currently got. Regardless of where we are from now to January, I'd just like to see whether we can improve the squad, maybe bring in a couple of more players and improve that squad, and then go again next summer and bring players in. But
let me ask you a question then.
Now we're live.
Let me ask you a question though. But do you have faith that will happen? So the fact that in the summer that we went out and bought loads of young players and Solanke, we'll talk about him in a minute, by the way, great finishes. But the fact that we bought loads of young players, does anyone here on the panel believe that then in January or in the summer they're then going to go and buy senior pros?
No.
That will be in the way of those young kids coming through, because already what we're seeing is, again, Archie Gray's come on today. I feel sorry for the lad, chucked at left back. Bergval, he's not even getting a look in. Odegaard injured, but let's be fair, when Sonny is fit and Richarlison's fit, and that, I don't think he's going to get a look in, and Yang is not with us yet. So do we think he goes and buys some senior pros and then pushes those youngsters even further down the
But some of the positions that we need, Savva, are not where these players are playing at the moment. We need players in certain positions. So left back, to compete against Destiny, we need another left back. And that's not stopping someone's pathway by doing that. We need someone to play left centre back. So you know that you've got Dragusin, Romero can compete with each other. You need someone to compete with Mickey van der Ven. So when you
but
lose,
do you think
these
there'll be kids again though? Because they're going to be competing, Jose. Do we truly believe he's going to, like, okay, guys, do you think he's going to go out and go, you know what, we're light at left back. I'm going to go and buy a quality left back that is ready to start? I don't. I think they'll go out and buy an 18-year-old left back to learn from a Dogi who is still a young left back himself.
Well, you mentioned 3 players there, Jose. You've got the Korean boy coming in January, and you got Vuskovic coming next summer.
Yeah.
So there's 2 of your 3.
Yeah, but he's not. I'm talking about we needed a left back. A
left back, definitely need a left back.
Definitely need a left back, and Vuskovic coming in. But do you think, though, Ian?
The other thing is,
with Vuskovic coming in,
Region.
Yeah, but with Vuskovic coming in, Ian, do you think that we're gonna? See, I've got a feeling that Vuskovic coming in is just a forward plan that was made already because we know we're going to lose a centre back in the summer, and that possibly would be Romero.
Absolutely.
So it may well be like for like, which still means that we're one centre half short. We're still going to be a centre half short.
Well, you got. Well, they would be looking at Phillips this season. They'll also be looking at Dorrington, and let's see how these 2 come through. You know, whether they progress at the rate that we need them to.
So the answer to your question, Savva, is that we're not going to. It doesn't sound like we are going to be signing any experienced players, does it? Based on the summer, it doesn't look like it. Because if we were going to sign experienced players, we would have done it. The club is going for the youth project. It is.
This is the interesting thing, isn't it? This is the interesting thing.
Yeah, and Ange, he spoke the other day, didn't he, Ange? And he said basically it's going to take years to build. It's just none of it all makes sense to me. It doesn't add up. Like, what are we doing?
Look, we know. Look, for me, right? Look,
why?
You've got to look at it like.
Sorry, just quickly. Yeah. Why, Edward? Why? We're the 7th richest club in the world with the best stadium in the world. Everyone thinks we play amazing football. When fans like you tell me we can't attract a quality left, why? Sorry, Marlon. I just don't get it. Whenever you talk about buying a really good player, we've got this section of our fan base that say, "But Spurs can't attract." Why?
We attracted you, Doggy, who's meant to be good. So it's a really weird statement.
Like, why? Sorry. I mean, if we can't attract really good players, we should have just stayed at White Hart Lane. Do you know what I mean? What are we doing here? But
the better question would be: would Levy pay for a quality left back? That's probably the better question.
Look, the question is here, right? Look, you have to look at it in the sense of look at all the summer signings, right? And you have to go. The only one that actually you could say that Ange actually wanted, and it's the same problem that every other manager has had, right? They're building something, but the only player that's actually in the starting 11 is Solanke, right? None of the rest are, right? If you look at it, Ange probably wanted more quality. And this is what he's been given. So he's had to work with what he's got. Now, a new manager coming in is not going to change that because the same thing happened to Conte. You got Jed Spence. You got other players he didn't want. Same thing happened to Mourinho. And the same thing happened to Poch. So it doesn't matter who's going to come in. They're going to have to work with this leadership and the way they're going to fight.
This is why things will never, ever get better, Marlon.
Yeah, but
this is why things won't ever get better until a manager comes in, stands up to the board, and says, "This is what we need if we're going to progress."
What manager stands up to the board?
Do that.
Someone's got to do it.
No manager.
Didn't Conte do it?
And got sacked. Yeah. So you can stand up. You can't. If you're going to come and take a job on, when you have your job interview, right? When you have your job interview, they tell you who the type of manager they're looking for, and then they tell you this is how we're going to operate. This is what we're going to do. Do you think you can work with us on? And they've obviously both said to each other, yeah, we can work that way. That's why he got hired. Now, at the end of the day, yeah, you're quite right in many respects that what I can't understand, and this is where I am going to be critical of the board, is that we were told ages ago that building a new stadium would take us to the next level, X, Y, and Z. We were going to spend money on the footballing side. They said they were going to spend money and improve the team on the footballing side. Now, I said this the other day. To me, right, match day revenue alone, on a match day, we take more than most clubs in the world do just on match day alone, on that revenue. That's not including when you're whoring yourself out doing concerts, boxing and shit like that, and Formula One karts and stuff like that. The amount of money that they make on that sideline as well, I'm thinking to myself, where the hell is the money going? And then when you end up and you start buying the players, or now we're being told that we didn't get Neto because of this, we didn't get Gallagher because of that, we never got Eze because of this. When you start looking into that, you start thinking to yourself, if there's any truth in that, then where is this money going to, that they said would fund our team? Because it's clearly not being spent.
And we'll find the truth out when Ange leaves. Like with every other manager, we'll find the truth out as per usual. And the problem is, like, I'm not going to sit here and go, blame all of this on Ange. Yeah, there's certain things I'd like him to do in game and this, that, and the other. But if I look at the squad from this season to last season, and I think you guys said it, it's weaker, right? We're not in the same, we haven't got the same strength in depth as we did last year, right? So the results are going to be inconsistent because that's exactly what you're going to get if you're going to buy young. You're not going to get, if you're not buying the established players, and most of our players were here last year being inconsistent, if you're not buying players who come into being consistent enough, you're going to get these results. And unfortunately, it's just where we are as a fan base to go, do we just accept this for the next 6 months, 7 months, the rest of the season? Or do we kind of go, actually, we want this club to start being serious, right?
Well,
that's the decision. That's the decision we have to make. Because if you say you want Ange, look, I know you're getting very frustrated with Ange at the moment, right? At this present time. But if he goes tomorrow, you're going to have to go through the next 18 months with the same cycle with the next manager. And it's going to happen unless he can get immediate results straight away. Because Conte got the first 6 months and then look at the following year.
Marlon, do you know what would be excellent to see?
Conte was fourth when he left. He started off at Tottenham in 9th, finished the season in 4th, and left us in 4th.
Yeah.
With Davis, Longley, Sanchez, Dyer, Tanganga.
But that shows, but that's how good Conte was. But I'm not. Right. But the issue is, are we going to get another Conte? Because the way we've treated managers.
Why would any top
manager?
But can we get a manager who's better tactically? That's another question, isn't it? Can we get a manager who's better tactically?
Yeah.
Well, look. First and foremost, I think we don't. Ange isn't going anywhere. Right? Ange isn't going anywhere. I don't think anyone's sitting here calling for his head. Yada yada yada. For me, guys, and I do want to wrap up soon. What I want to do is I want to make sure that every week when we come on, we've got these sort of fiery conversations, but we don't run over time. What would be really interesting for me, I don't know if you all agree, would be when they have the initial conversation. So let's use Ange, our current custodian. When Ange goes in, has his round of interviews for the Spurs job, right? I want to know what that discussion is as to, right, Ange, what are you looking to build? What type of players do you want? These are the type of players we're prepared to give you. Here's the salaries. I want to know how those conversations all transpire to the point where people go, right, yeah, we've reached an agreement. Let's all sign on the dotted line. Because as much as I feel sorry for the managers that sign here, one of two things happens. Either they agree to Daniel Levy's, what Daniel Levy outlines, right? Surely this has got to be common sense, right? Either they agree to Daniel Levy's outlines of when you join, you will only be signing 18-year-olds. You will only be paying a maximum of, 80 grand a week. Yada, yada, yada. Versus the other option, and there is only one other outcome, guys. It's that Daniel Levy lies at the interview. There can't be two things. So either these managers need to have accepted it and need to get on with it, and then as fans, we have to get on with it, or these managers have to turn around and walk away. Now, you would say that Antonio Conte, can you hear that banging, by the way? Can anyone hear a banging? No, good.
No.
You would say Antonio Conte came out and said, didn't he? Now, listen, I don't agree the way in which he did it, but everything Antonio Conte said was true. Spurs aren't serious.
Still true to this day.
You know, Spurs need 3 or 4 60, 70 million pound top players to compete. So it's all very true, but surely Ange would have been told this beforehand. So listen, guys, I don't want to go into a big thing because we are rounding the end of the show. Just quickly, I want to go round and just find out, guys, today, who are you most impressed with in a Spurs shirt?
Pape Sarr.
For me today, man of the match, Sarr, definitely.
Yeah, Pape Sarr for me as well.
Yeah.
Sarr? Marlon? Dan? Sarr?
I think Sarr or Dragusin. I was impressed with him today, considering the start he's had. I was really impressed with Dragusin.
Yeah, I just want to say, I thought Pape Sarr was excellent. That's the best I've seen him in a Spurs shirt. And listen, I want to say, I've been very critical of Solanke.
Yeah,
that
you.
second
My
household
loves him. My household loves him, so don't say anything bad about him.
Do you know what? Every time I get some abusive YouTube messages, I reckon it's Marlon with burner accounts. That's what I reckon it is, isn't it, Marlon? I thought that Pape Sarr was excellent, but what I would say is I thought Solanke, that second 45, is what I want to see. Getting into the box, and all these people that keep telling me, oh, but he's got crap wingers. Well, the cross came in, he scored a goal. So for me, keep doing that. Keep getting him in those positions. Just quickly, Galatasaray coming up. We're going to finish in 1 minute. Galatasaray coming up Thursday. A few people in my chat earlier said, oh, it doesn't matter. We can afford a defeat because we've got 3 wins behind us. Should that be the mentality, guys? Or should we be at the mentality where keep it going, keep the feel-good factor, and at minimum come away with a point?
It's going to be hard, Savva. It's going to be hard because there's going to be a lot of changes. So again, the team's going to be very disjointed, and it's a tough place to go. So when I wouldn't be that hopeful of winning or even playing well because there's going to be too many changes. They're going.
We've got too many
a lot of the youngsters are going to play.
We've got too many injuries. I don't think there are going to be that many. I don't think there'll be as many as we think because I think that the injuries that we've got from today and what going forward, I think there's going to be less than we think.
Yeah, it's a game which
possibly.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll just see. It's good experience for the young guys. Yeah. So playing away from home in Europe, that's good. But
the kind of game that you can bring in your Dorrington from the under-21s. It's the kind of game that you can bring in Lancashire, give him a run out. You know, because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, we're at home on Sunday against Ipswich, but there's the travelling to Turkey. There's the intimidation. Yeah. There's the intimidation that you're going to get at Gallas Stadium and stuff like that. And then by the time you leave that game, I think Turkey, I think they're 2 hours in front of us here at the moment. So then you're talking about getting back really late, or really early Friday and that. So at the end of the day, I'd be wary about how many people actually get on the flight to go to Turkey, injured or not injured. So that's my thoughts. And to be honest, having 3 wins already under our belt, you probably need 15 points to finish in the top 8 minimum. So win your 2 home games, because we still got another 2 home games to play in Europe. Win your 2 home games, and then we should be there or thereabouts, guys. So to me, I would relax probably this game because of what happened today and what happened on Wednesday and the injuries that we've got. I'd probably relax Thursday and try and save our legs to get 3 points in the league against Ipswich. That's just my opinion.
No, listen, guys, I've gone over time. Listen, loved it. Everybody in the chat, do me a favor. Please like the show. I mean, it's very, very important that you do like the show. We've had over 500 people in here for most of the show and only 209 likes. So we've got a 2 in 5 conversion rate. Please, more importantly than that, go and subscribe to the Spurs analyst. Go and subscribe to Dan. Go and subscribe to Jose at Tel Cockerell. And please subscribe to Spurs Kings TV as well. That's some great content. And go and follow Lubo on X. He goes to every Spurs game, so you'll get some good insights. And if you do want a rundown on Archie Gray's ins and outs of the week, what he eats, where he goes to the toilet, all that kind of stuff, then Lubo is your man. Guys, on a serious note, thank you so much for being part of the Spurs review revamped. Thank you. And hopefully everyone enjoyed the conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, big up everybody.
Thanks,
big up
guys.
everybody in the chat. Big up Ian, Jose, Marlon, Savva. Yeah, it's been a great show.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks everyone
Thanks,
for watching
guys. And
as well.
listen,
Well
guys,
done.
just to let you know, I'll be back tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Possibly, 6:30 p.m. for debate Savva. What's the betting? Because Spurs have just beaten City and Villa. That suddenly I get loads of people who want to come on and debate me and tell me I'm in the mud. So big up to you guys. See you later. And as always, come on, you Spurs.
You Spurs.